Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hello, everybody. How we doing? Hopefully, everybody's doing well. Hopefully, everybody's doing well today. We're going to talk about Trump's visit to Chicago for the National Association of Black Journalists. Thank you for the early contribution for your super sticker. Steve H got a super sticker or gave a super sticker. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sight Unseen, for your super sticker as well. Thank you, Ty, said they grilled Trump, but not Kamala's Kiwi Harris. Can't make this up. And thank you, Edward, said Black women are upset that their plan didn't work. So I got away with showing clips from Kamala's rally. So let's see if we can get away with showing parts of this. This is the full interview that they had with Trump. Thank you so much, Steve H, for the very generous contribution. Said just because. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate you so very much. And this is actually one of the issues, Miss Sierra. Only women part. There are 3 women up here. Not one black man. Not one black man to represent the black community. The reality is this, before we get started, the reality is this: they tried Trump, and had they been more intelligent, they actually could have cornered him. He left a lot of gaping holes in the way that he was answering questions and the answers to those questions, that he actually left a lot of gaping holes to corner him with the questions and corner him on policy. He actually did. He left a lot to be desired if you were looking for him to be ironclad in what he's saying. However, we didn't have logically thinking people up there. We had 3 women who were basing everything on identity politics and emotions. So we actually got a lot to say. A lot to say today. Because, see, my goal talking about this stuff is not to sway one sway anybody towards Democrat or Republican. Because remember, I don't vote. I very specifically don't vote. There's a very specific reason why I don't vote. Because my understanding of politics, politicians, and the government, you would call me a conspiracy theorist. I don't vote for a number of reasons. Because, see, once you know certain things, you can't unknow them. Once you know certain things, you can't unknow them. Once you understand things like MK Ultra, once you understand things like what a beta is, what a theta is, what a delta actually is. Once you understand the government underneath the government, the spiritual side of that, this is why I don't appreciate. This is why I don't deal with either one of them. I don't deal with either one of them. But because I understand that is the reason why I kind of get why the so-called media don't like Donald Trump. You realize he was the only president that was not familially related to all the other presidents. Even Obama was related by blood. Every president is related by blood. Y'all realize that, right? Every president is related by blood. Whether it's way down the line, it doesn't matter how far down the line it is, still. Trump actually, I thought he was trolling. The first time he ran for presidency, I thought he was trolling. Because I know he's not related like that, and he's not in the inner circle. He in the circle, but not the inner circle. I'm like, they ain't gonna let him win. He's not even a politician. They're gonna let Hillary win, but they didn't. He actually won. I was like, oh, they messed up. And let the non-politician see. Trump has always been a businessman. He's always been he's a wealthy businessman. He's not politics is not where he gained that wealth. He gained his wealth as a businessman, property owners and things of that nature. Like that's how Trump get his wealth. Every few years he claimed bankruptcy. That's just to keep the IRS out of his pockets. And then, you know what I'm saying? He playing the game. He plays the game. Okay? He playing the game. So when he got in the office that first time, I was like, oh, that's interesting. How they let that square get in there? Let that square see, wealthy, rich white man or not, he represents, or at least he portrays himself to be for the white middle class, working class people. That's who he portray himself to be, you know, a representation of, right? He portrays himself to have, and the white average working or middle class or working class citizen in America identify with him because they identify on the same values. So the stuff that he talks about, they identify on a value-based level. For them, it's not about finances and class. For them, it's about he's representing some of those values that they, you understand? And at the core of a lot of their values is white survivalism. That's at the core of it. This is why I'm not bothered by when people be talking about, oh, Trump is racist. I'm not bothered by that. That don't say nothing to me. That doesn't say anything to me. Because in my mind, that's the status quo anyway. Is that or is that not the status quo? So I have a very particular viewpoint of this structure, so I don't participate in it in terms of voting. So I see it from a completely different perspective. I see it from a completely different perspective. So when I say certain things, I know that people don't get that perspective, so they're not going to understand why I'm saying certain stuff or why I neglect to say certain stuff. We're going to actually talk about Project 2025. I don't think people understand what would have to happen for Project 2025 to actually happen. Project 2025 in my eyes is no different than the lost cause narrative. To me, it's the same thing. Because it's always been white survivalism. Like, they may change the words or change the narrative or change how it's put, but to me, that's all that is. That's all that is. Right. So in order for Project 2025 to actually come to fruition, you realize that the Democrats would also have to cooperate and capitulate as well. That would not be, that's because they're trying to position that as it's going to be a government coup. But if that were to happen, if that were to happen in the way that it is outlined and the way that they would have the American public to believe, then both the Democrats and the Republicans would have to unify and cooperate, because it would be a complete overhaul and a complete destruction of the United States Constitution. Even if you think the Constitution is a farce, or if you don't think that it holds a lot of weight, they would have to actually overthrow it in lieu of fascism. Which fascism is not completely out of the question. However, the way in which this would have to happen, because the president would have to come in with complete power, complete unchallenged, unchecked power, and that's not even true now. So we're going to get into we're going to get to this. Right. We're already under the system, right? But then they would have to drop the charade completely. They would have to literally drop the charade completely. No, not even the illusion of it could exist, right? They would have to completely do away with the federal constitution and each state also. That would not go over well. That would not, what people fail to understand, and I hate to kind of ramble, what people fail to understand with that is that actually white people ain't going for that one either. Because the average white citizen, that understands anything about government or anything, they actually like small government. They don't like government to have overreach. They don't like they don't like, the average person does not like authoritarianism. They don't like that because it's controlled by the government. You really don't have the right to do anything. So the average white citizen isn't going to take that laying down. They like the Second Amendment rights too much. They like certain things too much. That benefit them. They feel benefited by it. They're not going to destroy a system of white survivalism to replace it with something that don't benefit them. They don't like that. That has been tried. Germany tried fascism already. They tried those countries, other countries, they tried that already. It's a failed system. They rely too much on propaganda and things of that nature. It's a failed system. They know it's a failed system. They would not like to implement it. Now, some small faction of so-called the powers that be would love it because they would be the ones pulling the strings. But the average citizens, not so much. Exactly. See, they would have to do a military coup to enact Project 2025. That would actually require a military coup. And I read Project 2025. That would they could not do a quiet coup of the government. That would require bloodshed to do that. It's too radical, too fast. And people gonna be like, excuse me? We don't like that. What do you mean? So they don't like, so we have to understand things outside of our experience collectively as Black people. This country was not built for us. And I need Black people to not lose sight of that. While we discuss these different things, you have to understand that the system survives Republican and Democrats in office. This is what I mean by when I say the country never loses its trajectory. It never loses it. No matter who's in office, no matter who do what, no matter if the economy be good or it be bad, or inflation or war or no war, the trajectory of the country never changes, especially for us. Because if it did, we wouldn't have the same arguments our ancestors had 100 years ago. Oh no, we built it. We was just under slave status. We were not humans when we built it. We know this, though, do not. We built the entire infrastructure. We just wasn't human when we did it. So when the country talks about the great forefathers of the past, they're not talking about us. Although it couldn't have happened without us. They weren't able to do it.
This discussion continues a decades-long tradition during election years of inviting journalists to discuss the policies and their impact with the candidates who are running for president and the impact of those policies, especially in Black communities. Former Presidents George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Bill Clinton have attended the NABJ conventions either as presidents or as presidential candidates in past years. NABJ is currently in conversation with Vice President Kamala Harris's team to schedule a Q&A either in person or virtually in September. As journalists, we use opportunities like these both to inform our reporting, but also to help voters understand the choices that they face in a consequential and historic election year. NABJ has partnered with PolitiFact to fact-check this conversation in real time. You can access that feed on social media using the hashtag NABJFactCheck. Again, the hashtag is NABJFactCheck. We have a lot to get to, and we do not want to waste any time, so let's bring out the former President of the United States, the Republican nominee for president, former President Donald Trump. Thank you. How are you? Mr. President, we so appreciate you giving us an hour of your time. I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, sir. A lot of people did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever...
Now, before we let him cook, because he cooked her for that, before we let him cook, and I'm sorry, he got her for it. She walked right into that. She walked right into that with that man. This is why we needed men up there. We needed men up there to be able to give him a hard line of questioning, but professionally and not from a place of emotion. That's why we needed men there. So that they could, if they wanted to give him a hard line of questioning, I don't mind a hard line of questioning. I really don't. What I do mind is the same thing that he's gonna cook her for. We're gonna let him cook. Y'all heard how she addressed him. We heard how she addressed him. Now, regardless, and I'm gonna say this, regardless of what you think about him, he is still a former president of the United States. And so there is a certain level of professionalism that needs to be had, even if you do not like him. Even if you find some of his policies or his stances to be repugnant, even if you don't, you know what I'm saying? There's still a level of professionalism. This is at the National Association of Black Journalism. This is supposed to be the pinnacle of journalistic professionalism. They're supposed to be putting on a clinic right now on how you interview someone that may or may not, that you don't align your values with, yet you can still have a productive conversation with them and you can remain professional with them while at the same time giving them a harder line of questioning and being able to extract the answer from them. She did not put on a clinic for that. I'm going to let him cook. We're going to backtrack it just a little bit.
So my question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the Black population of this country. I've done so much for the Black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for Black workers and Black entrepreneurs. I've done so much. And, you know, and I say this, historically, Black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke. And I saved them and I gave them long-term financing and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
Mr. President, I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe that Black voters should trust you with another 4
I have
years.
been the best president for the Black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act?
And for you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work, in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on.
Now, she doesn't address him. And she doesn't apologize from a professional stance. She just got cooked. He did this to her. She didn't even say, I apologize if my question or my line of questioning came off disrespectful. We simply want to get down to the meat of the answers. So now you're going to get the flip mouth Trump. You're not going to get the one that can be held to the fire, because he's going to leave himself open in a lot of these exchanges for the direct, I can nail you here, I can nail you there. And I'm not a good interviewer. I'm not an interviewer. I'm not a journalist. You understand? Okay? It takes a lot of skill to interview people, especially people you don't like, and to still maintain a non-biased approach to them. That's her job. Her job is to remain non-biased and ask him direct questions. That's her job. Now you're going to get the petty Trump. You about to get the petty Trump. All the rest of this is like 35 minutes. He going to be petty. I watched the whole thing. He was petty with her the whole time. And she gave him that opening. See, this is the problem with not having no men up there. This was the problem with no men. The problem with no men is that a woman gonna get in her bag about something. He checked her. You know why he checked her? Because she came through with the roll neck like she was talking to a, she forgot that she was talking to a white man. And she was talking to Mr. Cartwright. Well, forget that he Trump. He Mr. Cartwright. You understand that? She forgot. She thought she was talking to a black man and she was going to go through his phone later and tell him about how she didn't like the DMs that he got. You understand? She was going to grill him about the text message. She forgot that she was talking to Mr. Cartwright. Regardless of what you think of him. And he simply was like, you realize who you talking to, correct? You don't talk to me like that. Who you talking to? You don't talk to me like that. And if you believe everything that been going around with Trump, then you know that he's not gonna cater to no female either, white, black, or otherwise. So the part that this is the point. This is the real point. There was not one black male representative on that stage, and I don't like that, because black women have placed themselves foremost on the world stage. Black women decided long ago that black men were not competent enough to handle being the face and the representative of the black community. So they rushed to be in the forefront in the world stage. So now you got to do battle as a black woman in an arena where it would have been better served to have a man. He actually would have had to respect the man. And the man would have understood, I can attack without the emotion. I don't have to put the extra sauce on it. I can talk to him direct, man to man. These are the questions. This is what we want to know. A man would have had to come with his research. Okay, during your term as president, because he has a track record to go back to. He spent 4 years in the White House. So he got a track record to go back to. Whether it's good or bad, you can actually go back to his track record in his 4 years and what was going on in the country and what was going on with black people and what was his policies and how did that play out in real time for black people. He got a whole track record. Just go back and look at it and you can pick it apart. If you want to pick it apart, you can pick it apart. But it'll be something that he wouldn't be able to say he didn't do. You understand? He wouldn't be able to weasel out of it because it would have been, no, this is the past. We're not even talking about public perception or not. We're talking about policies you put in place. What did they do? What effect did it have? Now let's deal with it. Let's deal with facts. This is what happened, or this is what didn't happen. How do we know that in your next 4 years, if we elect you, if you're elected as president, how do we know that the things that didn't pan out real good are going to pan out better than that? Because these are still your policies, correct? I'm assuming you didn't change your political stance. You could have got him. He could have been easily cornered. Could have been easily cornered. Because he liked to talk. He liked to talk. He liked to talk. All you got to do, it isn't like the first time he ran. The first time he ran, he didn't have any political history. He wasn't a politician. He was never a senator nowhere. He was never, you know what I'm saying, a governor nowhere. He never held a political seat. So he didn't have no politics that meant anything. He didn't have a history as a politician. But now he does. Now he has one. He got 4 years of presidency. You could have got him on how he handled the pandemic. You could have got him on a couple of different things. All you had to do was go back to his presidency. And if you want to pick certain things apart about his presidency, how this policy didn't work and that policy didn't work, then you could have got him on his tax policies, right? Because this past fiscal year, taxes were very different. I did not like them, especially as a person that has to file their own taxes. I don't have W-2s. So taxes work differently. They work a lot differently. And those were Trump policies enacted. I did not like those policies because I did not like having to do my taxes that way. Already hard enough to get tax breaks when you're doing 1099s and you don't have children and all these other things that would actually give you a tax break. Could have got him on that. Could have nailed him with that. Could have nailed him with the tax thing. You could have nailed him with a couple of things. Because he did a few things right. It wasn't all bad. I like it that we didn't have an active war going on in his 4 years. No active war. Because he's a businessman. You just go and make a deal. He always say that. He mean that. You go and make a deal with people. You go talk to them. You talk to them. I get something, they get something. And we don't have to overextend ourselves economically, fiscally, dealing with a war. The wars don't make money, right? It damages the United States from a financial standpoint. I don't know if people realize that we're not the military boogeyman that we used to be. We're not the military boogeyman we used to be. People not as afraid of the United States military as they used to be. Because we in the Russian-Ukraine proxy war. We proxies to that. Much money as they sending to Ukraine, we might as well be fighting Russia. We might as well be over there fighting. What's the difference? And again, I'm not even a political pundit. I'm just a person that stands back and sort of puts two and two together. That makes sense. That don't make sense. And I'm doing it from the standpoint of the average American citizen and what my life day to day be looking like. Because that's what we really should be worried about. What day to day in my life, what does that look like? Because I'm telling you right now, whether you agree with Democratic policies or not, this inflation out of control. And I have heard people defend this inflation that we get. It's out of control. This inflation is not, it's not funny. The price of necessities, up, 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 up. We're not even talking about anybody doing anything with luxury. We're not even talking about nobody doing nothing with luxury. Inflation is up so far that 6 figures, that ain't the money it would have been even in 2013, 14, 15, 16. It's not even the same. Not even the same. Exactly. 2 wings, same bird. Same bird. This is why I said what I said in the beginning of the show. They don't tell us, neither the Republicans nor the Democrats. Let me tell y'all something. Both sides are trying to hide just how bad this economy is and just how far into the weeds we actually are. They don't want to say it. The Democrats don't want to say it, and the Republicans don't want to say it to people. They don't want to say it. They don't want to say how far the dollar is falling, all because it's fiat currency and it is not backed by anything. They don't want to talk about it. Both sides play in our faces like that. Not even about black and white, but about survival in this country as an average citizen. I don't think that they want to. It would panic people. It would panic people to understand how close to the brink we are to economic collapse. People would panic. People would panic. Let me go to a commercial break. But after these messages, we'll be right back because, hey, we need a break. And in that break, we need to go to ashkicking.com. If you want to keep your skin looking, feel it, and smelling its best, we're on the last legs, the last stretch of the summertime for most people in all across the United States. So we got to get it in where we fit it in. This is still sundress season, still sandal season. So we're going to have to make sure that our feet are smooth, our skin is smooth, and everything is good. And we can only do that if we go to ashkicking.com. If this is going to be your first order, please take advantage of the 10% discount using the promo code Crimson. Okay, once again, the link is at the top of the chat, ashkicking.com. Don't know how many likes I need, but I owe you guys a bam, 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 bam. You got to hit the like button, bam, bam. You got to, All right, let me look at. Thank you, Terenzo. So if Cam is placed in the office, y'all could kiss your sons goodbye right now. The unborn sons and daughters will be 304 groomed. Thank you, Bakish, for your super stick. I appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Lucchese. So I come from communism, and believe me, the U.S. Constitution has not allowed this evil to enter this country fully. Thank you, Mr. Missing in 44. If you watched this horrible Watchmen show on HBO, I did not like nothing about that show. The movie was all right. That show was garbage. A scenario like that would have to happen for Project 2025 to even work here. Thank you, Ruminant. Said they are going to continue to slowly turn the heat up on the pot of water so that Dwight frogs don't jump out. Thank you, HVAC. I quit voting in 2016, my senior year in high school, and I voted Clinton because I didn't care. Ain't voted since politics ain't worth my time. Hey, Miss Dee Dee said, loving the content from one auntie to another. Thank you, sweetheart. We've been trying to cook, okay, between us, me, you, Danica. Listen, I've been enjoying the content. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you, Theo, for your contribution. I appreciate you. Thank you, Miss Celine. So I don't think she even addressed him saying hello, Mr. Trump, or anything. She just jumped right into it. Trump's pettiness in this was hilarious. He definitely went right over to pettiness. He was in petty land the whole time. Thank you, Successful MD. Said many are missing the big picture. Those people hang out together while the average people go at each other over colors and hearsay, but makes the USA a bigger target. They have escapes. Do we? Thank you, Charles. I spend my money to make the rich richer. Thank you so much for your contributions. So let's get back to it. So this is still the beginning. And I still made the point of Black women putting themselves in front. Just putting themselves in front, right? And it really represents the truth of our community because the women have long been in charge as they wanted to be, while saying with their mouths that they don't want the position, yet they fight for it. They fight for girl power and girl magic and Black girl magic. How many Black men probably got looked over and stepped over because we want to appear as though we are empowering our women, because we think that that's a point of strength, but it's not a point of strength. Other people do not see that as strength. They see it as a weakness, because women aren't what? Women in general can't always be used as pawns and moved around. Women are not seen. A community that puts its women in the forefront is not seen as a strong community. It is seen as a weak one. That's like your military being all women. Ain't nobody scared of that. This is not Themyscira, and they be getting whooped up by the right male entity. If you watch Justice League, the movie Justice League came out a few years ago. And when Steppenwolf showed up to Themyscira with all them Amazons, he mopped the floor. Mopped the floor. They were really no match for just him. Yeah, he had a little army with him, but they couldn't really do nothing with that. This is not Themyscira. Y'all are not Amazons, even if you were. If we put a whole contingencies of women on the front line of a war, we get laughed at. Nobody's scared of that. So it's weak. Any community that uses its women as a shield and as the sword is automatically viewed as cowardly. We wear the men. The men don't want to come out. You send your women out here? Really? You send your women? But Black women wanted to be and fought for that positioning because they think they can do that. And you can't. Completely buying into the feminist rhetoric. We want to be empowered, and that makes us a strong community. No, it weakens you. It weakens you. We weak because the women want to be in front, and they fight to be in front. They compete with the men to be in front. They compete with the men to be in the front. That's weak. The fact that she opens this up with rudeness, this is what she cut her own nose off to spite her face, and she don't really realize it because now he can needle her with it. You're not supposed to give your enemy a weapon to use against you. Don't give him no excuse to needle you with nothing. Be on your best professional behavior. So he can't say that. He can't say, oh, you were rude to me and da-da-da-da-da. Now you got to answer the questions. I'm not going to play the full interview, just so you know. But we're going to let it go a little bit more.
On to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
give me a
literally
definition
the words
then. Would you give me a definition
DEI.
of that? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question, a very direct question.
Define it for me if you
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say, no, I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She has always identified as a Black woman. She went to a historically Black college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you believe that
I think somebody should look into that too when you ask continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
Because she's responding to him in an emotional way, and not in a logical way, he's hitting her with it. He thumping her with it. He thumping her with it. He cooking her because of it. He's able to get away with how he's saying what he's saying because she's not being professional and she's being nice nasty with him. Not even so much nice. She's just being kind of nasty with him. And see, sometimes black women don't think that this is cute. That's not strength, though. She's playing checkers. He's playing chess. You got to play better than that. You got to play better than that. You want to be in the front, you got to learn how to play chess with people. Because if you want to be the leader and you want to be around other leaders, you're going to have to rub elbows with people and be in the same room with people you do not like. Because you don't see eye to eye. You don't align at all. And you're going to have to find a way to make certain situations work. And because she wanted to approach it from black girl magic stance and over talk, she didn't even understand what he said. He said, give me a definition. All she did was clarify the acronym. That's not a definition. She should have given a definition. She didn't do that. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's just what the acronym stands for. She should have given him a definition because he offered her the opportunity to lay groundwork that he would have had to work in. And she missed it. She missed it because she wanted to be in her emotions. But what he was asking for was what you're supposed to do in any conversation like this, of this type or a debate. Groundwork has to be laid. The structure under which we're having certain conversations. So when we're having certain conversations, certain terminology needs to be defined explicitly so everybody can be held to that understanding. And so now when we ask different questions about it and when we make different points about it, everybody is starting from that point and moving forward and not answering based off their own personal definitions of what stuff means. So he offered her the opportunity that she missed, which was to let me control the narrative. She missed controlling the narrative by giving the actual definition of it so that he would have to answer her question with that parameter. Because you really can't have a productive conversation if everybody has their own idea about what certain concepts even mean. Because now we're starting from a subjective place, and no. We all have to start from an objective place, and then answer questions from that place. And she couldn't do it. She couldn't get off of her. I'm gonna check Trump for everybody. Everybody's gonna look at this and say that I checked Trump. She was trying to get those kind of kudos, and it wasn't necessary. Just a little bit more.
A direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some Republicans
I really don't
have
know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length. And we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
Well, you told me it was the longest one of your life, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want to talk about why you're here today. I mean, it is not lost on us how divided we are as a country. And as you were coming today, we really got to see that we are divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking black jobs. You had the best.
What exactly is a black job, sir?
A black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
And
Mr. President,
they're taking the employment away from black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of me.
Now, I want to point something out. You see how the other lady got a better response from him? Lady in blue couldn't do it because she want to be aggressive. She wants to be a man. The lady in red, he had already had a rapport with. So she didn't come at him like that. See how much more calmly he answered her? She actually got the answer for the question she asked him. Now, I'm going to talk about black jobs. I'm going to talk about black jobs. Now, you may not like Trump saying that because coming out of his mouth, you could construe that as some type of jab at black people or something. But let's not act like, as black people, just between us, just us chickens, let's not act like the illegal immigrant issue don't affect us in the job market. Can we not do that? Can we not act like all of us got these super high paying jobs that the immigrants don't qualify for? Can we not do that? Can we not act like we don't know what he mean by that? We may not want to hear him say it, but I'm gonna say it. Because there are jobs that black people is easier for us to get. Some of us have been to jail and got a conviction on your record. So it can be difficult for black people to get certain kind of positions, even if they otherwise would qualify for the position. Let's stop acting like we don't have certain jobs, that we don't be bus drivers or have city jobs or have CNA jobs or have hospitality jobs. And can we just not act like we don't do that? Because we do be having them jobs. And that's not to say that those are the only jobs that we could ever get. But the average black worker is in some type of blue collar work, in some type of labor field or service field. Please stop acting like we don't know that. Please stop acting like we don't know that. And please stop acting like they are not hiring Mexicans to do it. Over and above us because we need a living wage for those jobs. We can't do those jobs. We can't do those jobs. I lost my train of thought. But we work. And a lot of that is service and labor. A lot of it is blue collar. A lot of those jobs are that. And it's nothing wrong with it. We working. But if they replace us at those jobs where you don't necessarily need like a high level degree to get it, you may just need training for it, or vocational training, certifications, things of that nature. We get those jobs. And like I said, nothing wrong with those jobs. We get them. But if they start giving other people those jobs, and then we can't move up on the ladder from them, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. And that's not to say other people wouldn't also be in trouble. So since we know that, I'm not so concerned with other groups of people. I'm concerned with my group of people. Because we can lose out on jobs by not being bilingual. You understand? It don't even necessarily be we don't know how to do the job. We know how to do the job. But a lot of us are not bilingual. We don't speak Spanish, really. Some of us do, but that's not a widespread thing for Black people. So let's don't do that, y'all. We may not have liked how he put that, or the fact that maybe he even said it at all. But let's not act like if we get replaced in our working class by people who don't have to qualify because they will do the work for cheaper, or the employers and business owners will become incentivized to hire immigrants over us, please don't act like that would not be problematic to us. Because how many of us are in the medical field, right? Especially a lot of Black women. Now let them replace all them Black women with other women who will work even longer hours for cheaper pay. Right? So I don't like it that we get on a little kick about what he mean by Black. We know what kind of trouble we'll be in terms of employment. If the immigrants take, the illegal ones, mind you, take work that's easy for us to get. Because that type of work is already scarce. Work that you only need vocational education for, and you don't need like a master's degree or anything like that. You just need vocation work, or you know what I'm saying, vocational knowledge. You might need to get certified here and there. You know what I'm saying? You need your certification here. You need your certification there. You know what I'm saying? Take a few classes here and there. You become certified to do this, that, and the third. Because the people of Chicago don't be protesting for nothing. Because there's not only the employment, it's the residents as well being booted out of the neighborhood. So gentrification is not happening because white people are moving in. Gentrification is happening because immigrants are moving in into places that we can afford, booting us out of those places and leaving us with very few options. Because in Chicago, especially, ain't no such thing as the projects no more. There are no projects. We've been told them projects down. But there's still a such thing as lower income housing, or, you know what I'm saying? And people be struggling to pay market rent sometimes. So we talking about the working class that don't use Section 8, that aren't using, you know what I'm saying, a welfare or anything like that. It's a hardship on them. Everybody not gonna make 6 figures and all that kind of stuff. Everybody's not gonna do that. Anyway, we already over. I encourage anybody who hasn't done so to go and read up on Project 2025 and become educated about that. And then think about how that would have to come into play in order for that to be something that we need to be scared of. You have to think about how the government works. Just to give you a little bit of a preview, just so people understand. Because, see, I just want my people to understand it. Understand what's being said. Because there's actually a PDF that you can download. There's a PDF that you can download, okay? Right here. There's a whole PDF, okay? Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise, 2025, okay? And for those of you, if you're really interested, I'm gonna need you to go and check out this document. Okay, they got it documented. All right, it's free to download for anybody that want to look at it. Okay. So I'm gonna need people to actually read this document. You will actually see just how ridiculous it is. Okay. It's a ridiculous document. It's a ridiculous document, by the way. Okay. It's a ridiculous document. I want to see if I can find like a bullet point. Okay, here's what I need y'all to see. We on Wikipedia. Don't crucify me. Don't crucify me. It's Wikipedia, y'all. Agenda 47 seems to be what Trump is attaching his name to. Okay. So Project 2025 was supposedly established in 2022. And the purpose was to reshape the U.S. federal government to support the agenda of Trump, which, you know, that in and of itself is a little bit ridiculous. But I want to go down here because these concepts are old because they're white survivalism. So these are some of the things, right? I want to start here. Project 2025 envisions widespread changes. Can you guys see this? No, can you see this? Right. Envisions widespread changes to economic and social policies and the federal government and its agencies. The plan proposes taking partisan control of the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Department of Commerce, the FCC, and the FTC, dismantling the Department of Homeland Security, and reducing environmental and climate change regulations to favor fossil fuels. The blueprint seeks to institute tax cuts, but its writers disagree on protectionism. It recommends abolishing the Department of Education, whose programs would be transferred or terminated. Funding for climate research will be cut, and the National Institutes of Health will be reformed along conservative principles. The project seeks to cut Medicare and Medicaid and urges the government to explicitly reject baby deletions as health care. The project seeks to eliminate coverage of emergency contraception and enforce the Comstock Act to prosecute those who send and receive contraceptives and deletion pills. It proposes criminalizing porn, removing legal protections against discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, and terminating diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and affirmative action. By having the DOJ prosecute, quote, anti-white racism, the project recommends the arrest, detention, and deportation of illegal immigrants. It proposes deploying the military for domestic law enforcement. It promotes capital punishment and the speedy finality of those sentences. Okay. Some conservatives, I'm almost done. Some conservatives and Republicans have criticized the plan for its stance on climate change and trade. Other critics believe Project 2025 is rhetorical window dressing for 4 years of personal vengeance and undoing almost everything implemented by the Biden administration. Project's authors acknowledge most proposals would require the Republican Party to control the House and the Senate. Do you understand now why I said the Democrats would have to cooperate? Anyway, some aspects have been ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court and would face court challenges. Others are norm-breaking proposals that might survive court challenges. Although Project 2025 cannot legally promote a presidential candidate, many contributors are associated with Trump and his campaign. The Heritage Foundation employs many people closely aligned with Trump, including members of his 2017-2021 administration, and coordinates. He wasn't a president in 2017. You know what? Anyway, this is Wikipedia. And coordinates the initiative with conservative groups run by Trump's allies. Trump campaign officials have had regular contact with Project 2025 and told Politico in 2023 that the project aligned well with their Agenda 47 program, though they have said that the project does not speak for Trump or his campaign. Background, I'm going to skip that. The Heritage Foundation has published its Mandate for Leadership series since 1981, with updated editions released in parallel with presidential elections. Heritage calls its mandate a policy Bible. Heritage claims that almost 2/3 of its 1981 mandate were attempted by Ronald Reagan, and nearly 2/3 of its 2015 mandate was attempted by Donald Trump. Politico has called Project 2025 far more ambitious than previous editions, and the New York Times said it operates on a scale never attempted before in conservative politics. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. That is supposed to be the consensus of Project 2025. The thing that I want to point out to that is that this is a concept that they've had a long time. The Heritage Foundation don't have no power. That's like the KKK coming up with their agenda for government. Like if whoever the grand wizard is, a grand dragon or whatever they call it, stood up and said, as the KKK, we say these are the policies that need to be enacted. It's like, okay. This is why I called it the lost cause. Same stuff. Same stuff. I'm not impressed. Now, let's look at a little bit of Agenda 47. Okay. Okay. Agenda 47, not to be confused with Project 2025. Agenda 47, styled by the Trump campaign as Agenda 47, is the manifesto of the Republican Party presidential candidate Donald Trump, which details policies that would be implemented upon his election as the 47th president. Agenda 47 is a collection of formal policy plans of Donald Trump, many of which would rely on executive orders and significantly expanded executive power. Would you prefer me to find a different because I can't click the link here. Donald J. Trump. Okay. Let's go there. Let's do that. All right. Is this what we were looking for? Is this what we were looking for? Because I can't click the link for what, like from I can't click the link from here. I want to make sure that we're looking at what we wanted to look at. This is it? Okay. All right. So we're just going to read this. All right. Number 1. Seal the border and stop the migrant invasion, which he talks about all the time. Carry out the largest deportation operation in American history. End inflation and make America affordable again. Make America the dominant energy producer in the world by far. Stop outsourcing and turn the United States into a manufacturing superpower. Large tax cuts for workers and no tax on tips. Defend the Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our fundamental freedoms, including the freedom of speech, of religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. Prevent World War III, restore peace in Europe and the Middle East, and build a great Iron Dome missile defense shield over our country. Not an Iron Dome. End the weaponization of government against the American people. Stop the migrant crime epidemic. Demolish the foreign drug cartels, crush gang violence, and lock up violent offenders. Rebuild our cities, including DC, make them safe, clean, and beautiful again. Strengthen and modernize our military, making it without question the strongest and most powerful in the world. Keep the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, because we would have to do that. Fight for and protect Social Security and Medicare with no cuts, including no changes to the retirement age. Cancel the electric vehicle mandate and cut costly and burdensome regulations. Cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, radical gender ideology, and other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content on our children. Keep men out of women's sports. Deport pro-Hamas radicals and make our college campuses safe and patriotic again. Secure our elections, include same-day voting, voter identification, paper ballots, and proof of citizenship. Unite our country by bringing it to new and record levels of success. Yes? Are we good with that? Right? So that was a layout of just bullet point without the website going into detail about how those things would or would not be implemented. It's just bullet point. Okay. And so I just want our people to understand, regardless of who you vote for, if you vote, don't vote, just I want us to not do that based off emotion. We've done enough of that. We need to do whatever we're going to do. We need to do it from a place of logic and understanding about what we're doing and what the implications are going to be. Right? because I actually agree with the immigration thing. We cannot have just a open border influx of illegal immigrants. We can't do that. No other country is required to do that because it destroys it. It will destroy it because for the people that come, you have to have resources. They don't just suspend in the air. These people got to live, they got to eat, they got to clothe, they got to survive. They ain't just coming in and suspending in the thin air. If people don't come into this just thin air. And I'm not even just talking about one race of immigrants, not just the Mexicans, or just like all of the illegal immigrants, like real talk. We got immigration policy. We have an immigration procedure, just like every other country. Now, if you want to try to overhaul that, I mean, okay, but to say, oh, well, we should take in everybody. We can't take in everybody because it usurps the resources from the people who was born here. And I'm sorry, you can call it what you want. We have the first right to have it. Because I would not expect to go to no other country and receive more priority than the citizens of that country. I can't expect that, whether I came there legally or not. I expect for its government to look out for its people first. First. If I want to be a part of that, I need to get, you know what I'm saying, become a citizen of that country. And then I can avail myself of the rights of that citizens have in that country. Of course he wants to do one. I'm aware of that. But the Democrats don't like Muslims either. Evidenced by the way they like to bomb where the Muslims be at. And how you know what, I ain't even gonna get into it. So the Democrats don't like Muslims no more than the Republicans do. It is. Because my rights as a Muslim in my religion would not necessarily be protected either way. Damien, thank you. Said the Secret Service, for instance, the 3 women were scared and one of them was hiding. Thank you, D. So you're 100% correct. Trump embarrassed them, not the other way around. This is why I'm not voting this round. No winners running for office. Thank you to Renzo. Said women on the front lines is a paternity war of destruction, and some of y'all won't want in office. That's disrespectful to us veterans. Thank you. Terry said she was checking Trump for the culture. She was trying to, but she didn't do it right. Thank you for becoming a member of Blue Exodus. I appreciate you.
But now you have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
Thank you again, Terry. Said you and Anton are out here doing God's work. Thank you, African Diastoic. Said let's not get into government funding for Black people, aka the gynocracy and its allies. Thank you, Mr. Missing in 44. So they have been told American people Trump is the next coming of Hitler for 10 years plus. Black jobs sound to them now like open up them chambers. The programming by the party is complete. Thank you, Tony King. Said when you talk about this project, you are helping them. Stop helping who? If information don't help, we're not helped by information. Wait a minute. We're not helped by information. So we should know information. Because that's going to do what? Other people can have the information. But we can't go over the information. No, regardless of what you make of it, it's the information. So we can't read the information. That's going to do what to us? I'd like an answer for that. What does information do to us? Thank you, HVAC. Said people need to be worried about Agenda 2030, not 2025 or 47. Thank you, Successful MD. Said why was this not instituted as Agenda 45? Thank you, Charles Keys. To other countries, you need 100K in the bank. Thank you, HVAC again. So Agenda 2030 is a master plan by World Economic Forum. For those that don't know, I read the book and it's grim. And thank you, Ezekiel, for gifting a membership and to whoever got it.
But now you have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees.
All right, so I'm out of here. I just hope everybody sort of gets where I'm coming from with this. Once again, who you vote for or whether you vote at all is just, it's up to you, right? It's up to you. It's up to you. I just want us to do things not from a place of emotion, just from a place of thinking about it. We just got to think logically about what's good for us or not. You can say that, but I have my own personal reasons for that I won't discuss. But before we go, somebody put it in the link. You can go to crimsoncure.com, the same place that you go and buy my excellent book. And you can buy the merch that I'm putting in the stores. If you go here, click buy. There's women's apparel, the book, and men's apparel. So like if you wanted t-shirts, I'm adding every week. I add something here. So we've got a lioness is. We've got Proud Crimsonite. And I'm thinking of other designs for the ladies as well. And of course, the Unbig Your Back. And for the guys, we got Winter is Here. All right. And I know we like that. Winter is here. No hyenas. All right. We're not dealing with hyenas, right? And of course, a lion is. And so we've got them in all different kinds of colors, all kinds of sizes. All you have to do is go to crimsoncure.com, click where you want, buy the ones that you want, and then they ship out to you without any delay. Thank you. L2 said, great show. Mr. Crimson is watching from the bushes. Miss Crimson, you mean? Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Right? So all you got to do, right. The bushes, right? All you got to do is go to crimsoncure.com. Same place you buy the book, same place you buy the merch. Each weekend, I'm adding 2 or so designs, one for the men, one for the ladies. When I think of the ones that really need to, that I think that you guys would like, I'll add more, 2 or 3 each for the men and 2 or 3 for the ladies. These are high quality t-shirts. I bought a couple of them myself. I like them. I'm pretty sure that you would like them as well. They fit nicely, not too big, not too small. So go and get yourself some t-shirts from crimsoncure.com. Jump down in the comments section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you, right, I got to do a back feet one. I got to do that. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. If you have not, once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonite.